They're small. They depict nature, but not quite nature as it is. It's nature distilled to its essentials with an awareness of the artifice that this creates. Influenced by Japanese philosophies like wabi-sabi and mono no aware, they can be compared to visual haiku. They're like dreams or memories. These words, which could be used to describe bonsai, apply equally to the photography of Yamamoto Masao. Born in 1957, Yamamoto began his art journey as a painter, but later switched to photography as his main means of expression. His photographs are tiny, often small enough to fit in the palm of your hand.
物質にしたいんですよね。そういう気持ちがあってサイズになってるんだよね。
He brings a painter's sensibility to their creation and printing, often staining his prints with tea, crumpling or tearing them. He's influenced by Zen Buddhism, and recurring motifs in his work include birds, hands, and natural and human forms.
いろんな出来事があるじゃないですか。鳥が虫を食べてたり、子供にアリが踏みつぶされてたり、いろんな風景が実は起きてるんだけど、それを私たちは見てないというか気がつかないだけで。
It's perhaps not surprising then that he should turn his attention to bonsai. In 2017, he met the bonsai master Minoru Akiyama, and this collaboration led to his series titled Bonsai: Microcosms, Macrocosms. In these works, bonsai are depicted in natural but also slightly unreal landscapes. Photographed as if they're real trees, their unreality still remains apparent, creating almost contradictory feelings of peace, stillness, and also some slight disquiet. They're often showed in snowy landscapes or by moonlight, or as if they're growing in lakes with Mount Fuji in the background. I first came across these photos about a year ago, and they've stayed with me. I come to them both as a bonsai hobbyist and an amateur photographer, and I approach them differently from each of these perspectives. As bonsai practitioners, we like taking photos of our trees. Our photographs record a moment in time of a living thing that is constantly changing. In bonsai, we understand that a tree is not constantly at its peak. In fact, to try to seek to maintain a bonsai like this is a fundamental error. Trees have a time to grow out and a time to be cut back. They have a seasonality, and I seem to be drifting into the book of Ecclesiastes here, so I'll stop. But my point is that as bonsai practitioners, we take photos to record these moments, especially when our trees are looking particularly good. Or if you're like me, when you've just given them a styling and feel pleased with yourself. Regardless, there's rarely any art to bonsai photography, although they are sometimes artsy. Whether it's the cell phone photos of the average hobbyist or the starkly lit studio shots from the most famous bonsai nurseries, bonsai photography is almost always a sort of product photography. The goal is simply to make the tree look as good as possible. Yamamoto's photos, on the other hand, seem to me to be an attempt to approach the spirit and truth of what we seek to demonstrate with our trees, the beauty and fragility of a living thing. It's the Japanese concept of mono no aware, the awareness of impermanence, a sort of wry, wistful acknowledgement that all things are transitory, but still we can appreciate beauty in the moment while being aware of its impermanence. On the other hand, from a bonsai perspective, it's also clear to me that Yamamoto is not a bonsai hobbyist. One thing that struck me is how completely uninterested he is in bonsai pots. In his photos, they're obscured in darkness, snow, or cropped out. I wanted to make an attempt to create a bonsai photograph in the style of Yamamoto Masao. Immediately, there are some problems. Yamamoto takes film photographs, and his darkroom process is integral. While I'd love to get into darkroom photography for reasons of time, space, and money, it's not in my immediate future. But like it says in my profile, I am forever analog, even if I have to fake it. While I could find quite a lot about Yamamoto's printing process, I couldn't find much about how he takes his photographs. From some of the shades of foliage against sky in his photographs, I thought he might be using colored filters. This is something I can replicate on my beloved Fujifilm X-S20, so I began experimenting. My best guess from looking at his photographs was that he usually uses a normal or short zoom for his focal length. His bonsai photos, I thought, were taken outdoors, but with artificial lighting. I have a nice vintage 75mm equivalent Yashica lens. It's actually the lens I used to record these talking head shots. It's made from thorium glass, so it's slightly radioactive, but not too much. It's probably safe and worth it for that vintage touch. I managed to come up with some settings that got me in the ballpark of Yamamoto's photos. If anyone is a fan of Fujifilm film recipes, I'll put this one in the description. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't have any trees in peak form at the moment, but this Zelkova was sitting on my windowsill after a recent cutback, so I decided to use that. I found that by lighting the tree from behind and above, I got interesting flares that reminded me of similar effects in Yamamoto's photos, so I felt I was on the right track. This photo is nice, but I think I like the previous one better with some of the lens flaring. After this, I remembered that I have a moon lamp that I bought for YouTube aesthetics. Might as well put it to use. I was happy with this photograph. Yeah, the moon is cut out at the bottom by the pile of pillows, hoodies, and a rice cooker that I set it on, and you can still faintly see my poster in the background, but I was happy with it. Inspired, I decided to set off on a photo walk with this lens and picture profile to look for moments of Zen in country Korea. Here you can see me pretending to take a photo. See if you can guess where my camera actually was. I found the subject matter difficult and the lens was a bit zoomy for my tastes, but it caused me to take photographs in a different way, to be bolder with under and overexposure and look more closely at natural things than I normally would have done. And a couple of my photographs were nice, but I kept wanting to take photographs of man-made things. I guess my tastes are different from Yamamoto's. At the end, I felt a little disappointed, as I always do, completely ridiculously, that I hadn't managed to instantly equal the work of a master. But I think I did learn something, and I found a few little moments of Zen. And it made me think more about the world around me and about our little world of bonsai specifically. That is all you can ask of good art. And it made me want to be more thoughtful about how I photograph my bonsai. So I felt grateful to Yamamoto Masao for taking such beautiful photographs and for making me think more deeply about my world. Sincerely, Zachary Going.